Well, welcome everyone, especially a warm welcome to Anne Arundel County Executive Steve Shue, of course NSA's Executive Director Ms. Corinne Stone, all of our distinguished guests, officials, visitors. Thank you very much for attending. I know your schedules are very busy. I know some of you have a meeting tonight, so we appreciate you taking the time to join us today at this very special event. My name is Judy Emmel. I think I know most people in the room. I'm the Associate Director of State, Local, and Community Relations at NSA, and my deputy, Mr. Roland Jeffers. We are very proud to have so many of our Anne Arundel County partners here today, so special shout out to Anne Arundel County. Although we have NSAers worldwide, Anne Arundel County is our home, the headquarters of NSA, and the home of this beautiful National Cryptological Museum, of which we are very proud. In fact, over 8,000 NSA civilians call Anne Arundel County home. I am one of those people. It is a great place to work, it is a great place to live, and we are very proud to be a good neighbor and partner in this community. So without further ado, I'd first like to introduce two county councilmen, Mr. Peter Smith and Mr. Andrew Persky, to have them come up to the podium. Thank you.
Well, we're just grateful to be, I guess I'll stand in front of the mic. Can everyone hear me without the mic? I'm always a fan of not being in front of the mic. I think it takes away from the presentation. So Angela and I, we actually represent parts of Fort Meade. I think my voice is probably loud enough anyway. We actually represent parts of Fort Meade. Andrew actually has a considerable portion of it, so he's probably the Fort Meade man when it comes to the county council. But you know, it's interesting because Judy and I, we were at Mako last year, and we were talking about, she was giving her presentation to all the elected officials who actually exist throughout the state, and they talked about the significant impact that NSA is doing for the community, specifically for Maryland. But what I thought was more important was that the impact that it's doing for Anne Arundel County, because it actually lives here within the fence line. You know, we have a lot of workers who work here who actually call this place home. And in fact, when you leave out the gate, you're touching Anne Arundel County soil. And so, I mean, I think it's a great partnership to have the leaders who exist here and us having a good relationship as well. And so we thought it was very important to recognize that. And it's so interesting that today we do it. This wasn't even planned by design. It just kind of happened. Where 74 years ago you have the start of World War II, and then 63 or 9 years later you have NSA that's created by Harry Truman. And so NSA is now 63 years old. They look good to be 63 years old. We have millions of dollars being facilitated on the base that's expanding it, and we're just grateful to be a community partner, and we're just here to help in any way that we can to ensure that NSA is going to be successful when it comes to Anne Arundel County. And I'm sure the county executive is going to come up here here briefly, and we'll probably talk about that as well. But you certainly have my support when it comes to anything that I can do from a legislative standpoint. I'm going to do it to make sure that this place is successful, just like we do the same thing with Fort Meade and the Colonel over there. But at this time, I certainly want to turn it over to Councilman Persky to say a few remarks as well.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. As you can see by the crowd here today, it is about partnership, certainly Colonel Foley and everyone. But I think what's most important is the history in this room. I'm a former social studies teacher, so certainly coming in here and looking at what NSA has done for our country is what's important, and also what it continues to do today, if you look at the history back, but also moving forward. So I think it's critical that not only we recognize NSA, the organization, but the people that work for it and everything that they do for Anne Arundel County. And as Councilman Smith said, partnership goes beyond whether it's the community, schools, and certainly I can speak as a school board member, the internships that have come out, certainly also the business community, obviously benefiting and working with the agency. And we're just glad to be here to support all of you and join us together. So thank you.
And so we have this citation that's passed by the county council. It was actually passed a little over a month ago, but we wanted to sort of work out when we're able to deliver it to you guys. On November 3rd, I think, is when we voted on it. But it definitely recognizes November 4th as the birthday of NSA. And we just wanted, from the County Council of Anne Arundel County, presents this national security, presented to the National Security Agency, recognizing November 4th, 2015, as NSA Day in Anne Arundel County, and recognition of NSA's contribution to Maryland and Anne Arundel County as one of the largest employers in the state, and its many employees who serve in the protection of our country and its citizens. NSA is a valued community partner providing support for mentoring opportunities, charitable initiatives, and local business partnerships. The Anne Arundel County Council recognizes and expresses its appreciation for NSA's work and protection of the United States of America and its allies around the world. So thank you for all that you do in serving our country and our county. So, and at this time we have, are you going to do it now? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you here.
Okay. Thank you.
Sounds like a good military term to use.
All right, right here? Right here? Thank you.
I feel like I should do Vogue or something like that.
Thank you very much.
But
Please don't.
that's just the that's just the treat right now. Now you have the main course. So we have our distinguished County Executive Steve Shue, who's going to come up here and present you a citation or as well. And so our County Executive Steve Shue.
Thank you, Councilman. Good afternoon, everybody. We're here today at the National Cryptological Museum, and what an interesting place this is. It is the imagination game come alive. And it's striking to look at the exhibits around this hall and to remind ourselves of the incredible debt of gratitude that we Americans owe to our intelligence services and all the contributions that they've made over the decades to keep our nation safe. Excuse me, these unfolded and out of my pocket. I travel all over the county, and wherever I go, I enjoy bragging about Anne Arundel County. And I talk frequently about the critical statewide and national assets that we have here in Anne Arundel County. And among them are, of course, the Chesapeake Bay and our capital city and our BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport and so many others. But first and foremost are the crown jewels of our county, Fort Meade and NSA. As a citizen of this county and as the county executive of this county, I can't tell you how proud I am that we are your hosts here in this county. To be the home of NSA is so important and such a source of pride for our citizens that I can't say enough about it. The men and women who work here wake up every morning of every day thinking of nothing except keeping us safe. These people are the best of the best, and they're our friends, they're our neighbors. We all know many of them. I remember back in the day when nobody could ever acknowledge who they were or where they worked, and it's a little more open today, and we kind of know who you are, and we appreciate what you do. We also appreciate the incredible impact that this organization and Fort Meade more generally has on the Anne Arundel County economy. The federal installations located in our county provide close to 8% of the GNP, of the economic activity of our county, and the lion's share of that is NSA and Fort Meade themselves. So the impact of this organization is truly felt in every nook and cranny, every corner of this county. And in recognition of the great work that NSA does here in our county and throughout our nation, we've brought today a proclamation declaring December 4th NSA Day. And that proclamation reads, Executive Proclamation. On behalf of the citizens of Anne Arundel County, Maryland, whereas the National Security Agency provides an indispensable service protecting our country and county by providing our leaders with vital information required to make decisions, support our troops, and provide for the safety of our nation's citizens, and whereas NSA is one of the largest employers in Anne Arundel County and contributes to the economic success of the county, and whereas NSA is an active and supportive organization and committed to be a good citizen of Anne Arundel County through educational outreach programs, partnering with many Maryland's small businesses, and being a good steward of our environment. Now I, therefore, Stephen R. Shue, County Executive, proclaim Friday, December 4th, 2015 as NSA Day. And I encourage all citizens, residents, and visitors to join in observing this day and focusing upon the vital relationship between Anne Arundel County and NSA. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of Anne Arundel County to be herein affixed. If
Right, one more. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow. You all sort of said it all, except that how honored we are to have this. I mean, what an amazing recognition this is for our workforce. I will pull out my notes, even though we really did cover what I wanted to talk about, which is our amazing partnership with this county. You are our home, you are our hosts, and you allow us to do what we couldn't otherwise do. We couldn't do it without the support that you all provide us day in and day out. As you said, a huge number of our workforce lives and works here in this county, and so it's very important to them that they be recognized for the great work that they do, and I think this is just such an honor. You know, we go through our ups and downs all the time, and to know that our family and our friends here that host us know what we do and feel pride in what we do really helps us feel pride in our work and is important to us. So thank you so much. As you said, it's Pearl Harbor Day. It's another sort of fitting serendipitous day to remind ourselves why we're here and what we do, and why it matters, and that we always work towards having the safety of our country and never having another Pearl Harbor. So that's why we're here, and it's great to be able to do this on a day like today. Let's see, we've got numbers already of all the people that live here, as you know, billions of dollars in contracts that have been awarded to county businesses. We actually also have an extensive academic outreach program, which I particularly love to talk about because there is nothing, we have nothing but our future with these kids who are learning about math and STEM programs, and even broader than that, not just in the STEM world, but it's really important for us to cultivate a love of this kind of information in our kids. And so we do a lot of outreach with the schools in Anne Arundel County, and that's really important to me personally, but more broadly. I think it's great that also your schools welcome us in and ask for us, and we love that. As you know, our East Campus is being built, and by the time it's completed, we will have employed over 10,000 people and injected millions of dollars more into the economy. Of course, we also try to be good neighbors while we're doing this building, and so we've done everything we can to minimize all the trucks and the traffic and everything on the roads, especially during rush hour, because we want to be good neighbors as well. But we appreciate your support in getting that done. That'll be great for the workforce as well. So thank you again for recognizing our workforce. I think again, this is a real honor, and people will be so proud, and to be able to say, hey, it's NSA Day. I think people will celebrate it across the agency, even if they're not here physically in Anne Arundel County, because we have a workforce around that's global. So thank you for doing that. We look forward to continuing and strengthening our partnership over the coming years, many years, and I'm honored on behalf of all of the NSA workforce to accept the proclamation and to say thank you on their behalf. So we're thrilled.
Tell me a little bit about the museum. How long has it been here, and what's housed here?
Well, the museum has been around for about 20 years, and it is really the centerpiece of America's cryptologic attic. Now, cryptology means the making and breaking of codes. People often refer to this as NSA's museum, and it is that. We're owned and operated by NSA. I'm a fully cleared NSA employee. NSA basically pays to keep the place open. But the official title is the National Cryptological Museum, because what the purpose of this institution is to develop in the general public an appreciation for how the making and breaking of codes has had a profound effect on history, really from the beginning of time. Now, the agency also faces a huge challenge every day, and it's this. We live in a democratic republic. Tax dollars are used to keep the agency going, and when taxpayers provide their money, they want to know what's going on. That's part of democracy, transparency. However, in the cryptologic world, if you make the mistake of advertising your cryptologic successes, you soon put yourself out of business. Now imagine for a moment you're the middle linebacker on a football team. And for all of a sudden, through some miracle, you can hear the play that the quarterback is calling before they come out on the line of scrimmage.
I'm sure the Patriots have already done that.
They perhaps have, but that's a huge advantage. And if you had a fairly good defense, you would probably be able to win a great many games based largely on the fact that you knew what the adversary was going to do before they did it. Now, what you would not do, and what Bill Belichick would never do, taking up your example, you would never yell over to the quarterback in the second quarter, you guys are a bunch of morons, we're hearing everything you're saying. Because if you did that, you might feel pretty good about you got over on them, but they would probably find out why you could hear them, and whatever they had to do, they would change it. Mm-hmm. So if you are successful in the cryptologic realm, you have to keep it very, very quiet, which means it takes an inordinate amount of time for something to become declassified. So what we do here is we take the stories that have been declassified, most of which are pretty old, and we present them in interesting ways, and we hope that people can extrapolate from those stories how important the present day mission is. We tell the story of the breaking of the Enigma Code, which was thought to be impossible, and the profound effect it had on winning World War II. We tell the story of the Battle of Midway, how the United States was down to 50 ships, the Japanese had over 200. The Japanese conquered over a seventh of the Earth's surface after Pearl Harbor, and how despite the fact that we were outmanned and outgunned, we were able to break Japan's codes prior to the battle, find out what they were going to do, and we were able to roundly defeat them on June 4th, 1942, which basically changes the whole nature of the Pacific War. So by helping people to understand how critical this stuff is, we hope that they again can develop an appreciation for the important mission of the agency in this day and time.
Would it be fair to say that cryptology goes all the way back to George Washington, who invented invisible ink, I believe?
I don't know that he invented invisible ink. I'm not enough of an expert on Washington. That may well be the case, but I don't know. I will tell you this, though. Cryptology goes back a lot further than George Washington. Yes, it was a big part of the founding of our country. There were any number of important plots and schemes that were basically revealed because Washington had people who could make and break codes on his staff, not the least of which was Benedict Arnold. But way before our country came into existence, we go back to antiquity. Probably the first time that a primitive person realized that, number one, they could communicate, and number two, that there were certain pieces of information that had to be kept within the group or the tribe and not shared with others. That was the time when cryptology begins to be developed. We do it in our everyday lives and we don't even realize it. Many times when you talk to your children, you might go home to your wife after work and you might say, don't octay about the Urkis say. I have to Urkway on Atterday say. All right, what you're telling your wife is, don't mention the circus because I have to work this weekend. Well, your wife knows that, and you certainly know it, but your children, if they're 3 and 4 years old, normally by 5 they understand Pig Latin, they're sitting there listening to you talk. You're talking in the open, but they're clueless as to what you're saying because what you're basically doing is encrypting it, and the person at the other end is decrypting it. Now, again, when the kids get to be 5 and 6, you're not going to be able to use Pig Latin because they're going to understand it. So this is something that's part of the human experience, and we try to highlight that, how it's not just something that you use in wartime or to help nation states secure their goals, but it's a basic part of who we are as people. The museum is open from 9 to 4 every day that the federal government is open. However, we also have Saturday hours on the first and third Saturday of each month from 10 to 2. You can learn more about the museum at www.nsa.gov. There's a portion that is devoted purely to the National Cryptological Museum. Our phone numbers and email are in there, so if you have questions, need help with your homework, if you're doing a cryptologic project, or you want to know anything about cryptologic history, not anything, but just about everything, please contact us. We also have a wonderful, wonderful research library. Our librarian, Renee Stein, is really a top-notch researcher. She can assist you in a lot of different ways if you're doing a project that's centered around this type of discipline. So please come see us. We do have about 60 to 70,000 visitors a year. About 5,000 of those are school-age children, and we have a whole host of elementary, middle school, and high school institutions come here on a regular basis. Many of them include us in their curriculums. So if you're interested in a field trip, you can contact us as well, and we'll tell you how to set that up. The bottom line is, if you're interested in the making and breaking of codes, or just mathematics, or just science, math, and technology, please come by and really walk around, because I think you'll really enjoy it. And if you're young, you might just start to think about a career with the NSA, which is another reason why we have the museum. So please
Great.
come see us.